and welcome to the Master of Unlocking Game of the Year Extravaganza. We are at the Character of the Year. You act like it's just going to get a little weirder with every podcast.
You sounded like Oprah.
I remember what is Oprah. You get a car. That's all I think I remember.
Yep.
Okay. I'm Logan, the weirdo extraordinaire.
You nailed it.
Yeah, nailed it. All right, Caleb, thanks I nailed it. Jason, typing furiously over there.
I'm working on Caleb's Oberdin slide.
Oh,
yeah.
You need a slide for that. So I'm producing over
Wait
here.
a minute. Now that's telling.
What?
As we're thinking about things, if he's just now putting together an Oberdin slide and his video is already done.
Oh.
Hey, not spoiler alert, but we're going to, maybe we can advertise.
Yeah.
We're going to do a quick how should I describe it?
We're going to do a live podcast. I shouldn't say live, but it'll be a live
reactions.
Can
we make it like super clickbait?
Yes, we should make it
super clickbait
of us guessing what each other's top 10 games of the year are.
A red circle and an arrow pointing to it.
There you go.
If I've learned anything from YouTube.
Click this video.
Yeah, and then we'll once we guess, everybody's top 10, we'll then reveal that top 10 and kind of just go, oh, well, I was either right or I was way off on this.
Take a guess at each other's top 10s and see how well we know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how much Jason regrets not putting Oberdin on his video.
Regrets. Big time life regrets.
All right. Well, we were at Character of the Year, though, so less advertisements, more... we never got Mel's. Never mind. So, Character of the Year. Let's run through the nominees real quick.
Let me sort them real quick here.
Oh yeah, sort them by game. I think they are.
We need to sort range. Wrong.
That's wrong. You sorted by name, not. What was that?
That was Caleb's slide being finished.
Oh,
there's just a lot of. That's not what I wanted either.
I don't even know what you just did.
I just randomized it. All right. Okay, well... There you go.
Okay, all right. So, in alphabetical order by game, from Celeste, Mr. Oshiro. From Donut County, BK. From God of War, Kratos. Also from God of War, Freya. And also from God of War, Mimir. From Life is Strange 2, Sean Diaz. From Pit People, Horatio. The next four are from Red Dead 2. Sadie Adler, Jeremiah Compson, Arthur Morgan, and Dutch Vanderland. From Spider-Man, Spider Cop. And from The Missing, we have JJ Macfield and FK. We have a BK and an FK.
Both primarily talk through text on a cell phone as well.
Also very interesting. Well, I did not play Celeste. I would like to play Celeste, but haven't had time to. By the way, that is the Games with Gold for January.
Oh, cool. Good.
Random advertisement.
That is exciting.
That's exciting. I will play that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, tell us about Mr. Oshiro.
So, Celeste, I don't know how much you guys know about Celeste, even.
I know it is a platformer.
Okay.
There you go.
So, the main conceit of the game is that this girl is going through some stuff, and so she wants to prove to herself that she can accomplish something. So she decides to climb Mount Celeste.
Oh, okay. I assumed the girl's name was Celeste.
No, the girl's name is not Celeste.
I was wrong.
You can name her Celeste if you want to.
Oh, okay.
But she's by default is not. So I don't remember what the default name is. But anyway, along the way, there's this mountain. It's known as being very difficult to climb. It used to be a big thing for people to do, but anymore it's not really a thing people do much anymore just because it's super dangerous. There's a hotel that used to be this huge, sprawling. Think like, what's the hotel from The Shining?
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but I
think like that in scope.
Okay.
But think of that as if the tourist boom has gone away, and it has been for 15 years. It's nobody comes to this hotel anymore. But Mr. Oshiro is still a very dedicated worker, and he's trying to keep this thing together, even though there's literal holes in the ceiling, and he's just trying to keep it all together. He puts on this front when the main character comes in, like everything's okay. And do you want a room? He's very excited. They finally have a customer. Do you need this room? And she's like, this place is all broken down, and he's in complete denial about it. And basically, it's kind of an allegory for his struggles as well, because of everything that's going on, is in this deep depression. So you have to kind of, as the player, you'd have to kind of collect his thoughts or collect his well-being and try to help him, like, kind of repair the hotel as you go through. And it's the more of a downward spiral he gets in, the more dilapidated the hotel gets. So you have to kind of try to help him on your way through your own personal struggles. You have to help him. So it's just really cool. Like, it's a really cool symbolism for a person with depression trying to help somebody else with depression. I don't know if maybe it doesn't fit on this list as much because it's not necessarily his character that's so great. It's just the situation. So maybe
he goes.
But I just thought it was a really cool moment in that game, and for a game that we're probably not going to talk a whole lot about.
Wrong category.
Well, what category would that be, though?
I don't know. You said moment, but yeah, it's
not.
It's story plot.
It's not really. Yeah, it's just a plot point more than anything. It's not really him as a character. So
I'm just giving you a hard time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take him off, but I do think that that's a really powerful part of that game.
Okay. BK, Donut County.
He's going down the list.
I'm just going down the list. I don't know. I guess we can kind of go however we want. Unless anybody else wants to go another way. BK is a raccoon, and he's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. He basically created all the holes and all the holes that started within Donut County, and how everything fell into whatever that is that they are all in.
For really no reason other than to have fun.
Well, no, he needed needed money to get his drone copter.
That's what I mean.
Right.
So he doesn't have and the more that this place, he doesn't seem to care that he's destroying this entire city just to get this one cool thing that he wants.
Yeah, he wanted a drone to deliver donuts.
But then in the end, he kind of goes back around on that. So
yeah,
he has a cool redemption arc.
Yeah. Did you ever touch Donut County, Jason?
No, I wanted to. I chose other things. So.
That's fair.
I knew that both of you had played it, so
yeah,
I figured I'd do something else.
I mean, he's an okay character for me. I mean, I wouldn't say he was like the best, but
I think there's stronger stuff on the list.
Me too. Anybody else want to jump into anything else while we're another one I feel like we can cut and just talk about real quick, Spider Cop.
No,
we can't cut Spider Cop.
Staying on the list.
Okay.
That's our winner. No, I'm kidding. I that's a joke.
I mean, it was kind of a dumb, jokey thing that he was Spider Cop that lasted for like a hot minute, and then it came back at the end of the game. I love
Spider Cop. I know it didn't hit everybody, but
some people hated that.
Yes, Spider Cop is back.
It was dumb. Hit on
Who put Freya on there?
Me.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
I think Freya is interesting for lots of reasons. And it's obviously spoilers. We've talked about that a lot. But the way that she doesn't have to help Kratos or Atreus, but the reason why she helps Kratos is because she understands what it's like to have a kid.
Yeah, she's a parent situation, yeah.
And so she doesn't necessarily like Kratos or want to help him.
She doesn't like him at all. She
wants to help Atreus because Kratos' sins aren't Atreus' sins.
Yeah.
And I find that really, really compelling. Very interesting.
And she has her own sins to atone for.
So that gets the first thing, and I guess I'm trying to think track of how the game goes. So like you're introduced to Freya, she's helping you, and then she is more or less forced to make a choice, and Atreus is in a really bad way, and she decides to help Kratos. That's the Blades of Chaos moment and all that other stuff that I like quite a bit, obviously. But then, spoilers, at the end of the game, she would rather see herself done harm than her psychotic son, Baldur, be destroyed. And she doesn't care what it means for the surrounding world of God of War, how it impacts anyone or anything. She doesn't care what Baldur does because Baldur is her son. And she is truly lost in that because she is culpable for the way Baldur is, but she still, after all of the shit that Baldur has done, she thinks that he's redeemable. And something about that, it's not, people bag on God of War for the tropey, just fairly mundane father-son relationship bullshit, right?
I don't know if people bag on it at all.
I've heard that sentiment.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard that sentiment plenty. And I think the real paternal relationship that's interesting in that game is Frey and Baldur. I think it's far and away the more compelling thing than Kratos trying to understand how to be a father. I'm not saying that stuff's bad. I think both of it is very good, but there are just such... The game is about patricide? Patricide. That's how you say that word, right? Patricide? The murder of your parent?
Sure.
Patricide? I think that's how you say it. I realize that's the major theme in that game, but the Freya and Baldur stuff to me is super interesting, and how it impacts Kratos and Atreus and the decisions they ultimately have to make as the game's leads. Sorry, Freya, but Baldur's out of control.
Right.
Even if you just recently saved my son's life, I now have to take your sons away. Like, that's all. I don't know. I think Freya's a really strong candidate in this category.
I think you're right.
I think you're right too.
I just have forgotten a lot about God of War because
it's been a long time, right?
Yeah.
And if anything in God of War, I would I don't know. Freya's my nomination, but I think all of that stuff at the end of God of War is very strong.
I mean, yeah, her arc really picks up right at the end. I mean, otherwise she was just kind of a side character who you were like, oh, well, she's just helping out, and then once you figure out...
Is she originally known as just the witch?
Yeah, you don't know her name until pretty late.
Yeah, because, I think Mimir is the one who knows who she is.
Oh, is that
So
right?
once you get Mimir, it was like, wait a minute, like, Mimir was like, I know who you are.
Okay.
Because she was mad when Mimir first... Because when they brought the head in, because... Yeah.
I had forgotten that.
Of the three God of War, like, honestly, I think we cut Kratos.
I think I'm fine with that too. I just added him in because it was... I felt like we didn't have enough...
I'm on the side of Kratos, though, against the stuff that I just talked about. Like, I think that for whatever reason, there are people that didn't enjoy Kratos' relationship with Atreus. I have seen that sentiment out there.
Really, I guess I don't. Maybe I just ignore some of that.
I don't. Yeah, I think that's. I don't think that's fair. I think it's very good.
I think it's very well done.
But if I had to pick between Kratos and Freya, I would pick Freya.
Especially when you look at where God of War was as a game. You look
to
at
have Kratos be like a developed character of any kind other than like just this
angry
murder robot,
right? And I mean, who doesn't? I mean, how many times are we just boy, like, I mean, just like all of that stuff.
Just the range that he had in saying that one word is kind of crazy.
There's the one before we let Kratos go. There is that one moment where he wants to physically comfort Atreus, but he doesn't know how.
Yeah, he like goes to put his hand up on his back,
and he doesn't know how to do that. Kratos doesn't know how to hug. Like he's never been hugged. Kratos doesn't know how to hug.
I think part of the reason that I don't think he fits on this list is because we know so much of Kratos from the other games, and this game is just directly opposed to that. I think a lot of his character development comes from being opposed to what we know of Kratos and what's established. If those games wouldn't have existed, I don't think Kratos would be very interesting.
No, but I also don't think the game would have been as interesting.
Exactly.
Because we didn't have the background knowing all of what he is and who he has been.
As I'm saying that the character for the year 2018, I don't think is Kratos.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with moving it off. I just thought it was a worthy nomination to throw him on there because it was just like,
he deserves his due.
I'm gonna take Horatio off of there. It was mostly a joke, also.
Okay, I don't.
He's just he's a farmer and he fights with a pitchfork, and then like eventually he has to like kill these super aliens that like can basically destroy the Earth on a whim if they want to.
Things go sideways. Does Horatio? Is it his wife that's crushed right away?
Yeah, and a son. Just instantly, just giant foot, I think, comes down and crushes them.
People's so weird.
Poor Horatio.
Oh, people. Want to hit on Jeremiah Compson in Red Dead.
Do you remember Jeremiah
do,
Compson?
and I remember the stuff because I remember seeing his name on this list at one point, and then I got to his arc and I was like, well, that was, what the hell did they put this on here for? It was kind of boring.
Really?
I thought it was a very boring storyline.
Okay, so the reason that I put Jeremiah Compson on here is because it really got me thinking. Like, his character arc got me thinking more than anything.
Okay.
Because, Jason, do you remember this quest?
I'm trying to
You had to go up into the north to get him, right?
So, I don't remember exactly where it was, but you find this guy and he says, hey, they're going to take my house. They've taken my house away. I have nothing. I'm homeless now. Could you go up to my old house and get these 3 things for me? And he wants it's like a diary, a gun, and a pocket watch or something like that. So you go to this house and you find all 3 of the things are pretty easy to find, except for there's like a hidden hatch that leads into a basement in this house. And when you go down there, you see that there's like shackles down there, and his journal is down there, and you pick it up, and if you read it, it's a log of him holding slaves. So he was part of the Confederate South in the Civil War. He was holding slaves there for them. And the thing that I thought was so interesting about it was like when you go back to him, Arthur's like, no, screw you. You did all this stuff. He throws all this stuff in the fire even. It's like, no, you deserve to die here. And he pleads for his life there. He's like, hey, without this stuff, like I have no worth. So it really got me thinking, like, how closely attached are you to your actions, first of all, and secondly, how big of an impact of the environment that you're in reflects the actions that you do. He was just a pawn in this scheme. Like, I never got the sense from him that he was, he wanted to even be doing this. He just had to.
And I didn't get that part of it. I guess I always just thought of it as it was an Arthur honor thing.
Yeah.
For me, that's the way I looked at it.
And it just got me thinking about, like, how much of a product of your time are you? And if you take that setting that you're in, if you take that away, then what does that mean for you as a person?
Oh, I get that.
And I thought a lot about that, and that's why he's on the list. He can come off, just because there's strong candidates.
No, I think that's a unique way of looking at that. Of like, I'm just as in general as a whole, of like this was what made him who he was,
right?
Even though it wasn't right, but
it wasn't right, and also like that part was taken away from him when the war ended, obviously. So like he's worthless now. Is that how we? You know what I mean? That's how closely how much of your job is your identity
defines who you are. Yeah.
But I'm gonna take him off.
It's an interesting story arc, that's for sure. I guess I just wasn't compelled by him as a character as much.
That's a really good argument, Caleb.
It is a good argument, though. I will say. Yeah. We haven't played Life is Strange 2 yet, Jason and I. So I don't know enough about Sean Diaz at this point.
Sean's the older brother. I don't want to spoil anything because I know you guys are both probably going to play this.
I'm going to play it. Yeah,
but he's just a really good older brother.
Okay.
I think he needs to stay at least for now.
And that's hard because
it's like really hard.
You don't want it. We can't spoil it for each other. Yeah, that's hard.
He is put in a very very awkward position.
Can I give one other recommendation though for something because of how we are treating Life is Strange 2? Can he be Character of the Year for 2019? Because of because of how Life is Strange is going to come out.
Yeah, that's a fair argument.
That's just my only thing at this point with it, is that since it's only episode 1 of 5 that have come out.
Yeah,
he's got a long time to change his character arc.
he's really good. Really good. I wish he would have played it to see, but
I'm going to play it when it fully comes out in 2019.
Okay.
That's my only...
Yeah, let's do it.
Just from a simple rule standpoint, because we're going to get 80% of the game in 2019.
Yeah, and I have a feeling he'll be on the list next year, too.
Okay, that's just... That's my only thought.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, Mimir. I mean, that guy is full of stories. Full of stories. And his thick Scottish accent, and you cut his head out of a tree, and that guy moves that game along.
He does.
In a lot of ways.
Man, of the stuff that's left.
I know, right? We haven't even talked about the other 3 Red Dead characters yet.
So I added JJ and you added FK from the missing.
I'm fine with taking FK out. I added FK just because it's a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
And you talk to it via text message, when in all reality, it's a text message from a stuffed animal inside your subconscious, and like FK is almost even kind of like, if you're thinking about like the conscious, the subconscious, and the id, like it's goes more toward that id route of like that, of just like, because he's just constantly, you guys are constantly swearing at each other and sending like terrible memes at each other, and it's just it's really the only part, he's the only character that you talk to during that game. Everyone else is either some weird spirit, and you don't even realize he's a stuffed animal for a while.
Right.
You're just like, who the hell is this? I don't know. I just thought it was an odd character to have in there, and for that to be the main story device for a while.
Of the 2, I think that JJ is the stronger character.
Oh, I agree.
If we're just going pure character,
especially with how the arc ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Honestly, I think JJ stays
stays
permanently on this list, but unless somebody has a really good argument.
I don't at this point, but I also really like all 3 of the Red Dead characters here too. Because I mean, now we're at.
I think we cut Mimir.
Mimir. If I had to pick God of War,
from
Mimir over Freya, probably.
Jason has swayed me with the Freya argument.
I think I cut Mimir over Freya too. I think I'm good with that.
He's damn entertaining.
He is damn entertaining.
This is not a slight against Mimir.
But he doesn't really have any development or anything like that.
He
doesn't change.
No. He's a very integral part of that game. That game there'd be a lot of boring sections of that game without Mimir.
Yeah, Mimir's quite the valet. Yeah, but I agree with you guys.
I mean, he's really kind of the glue that keeps
Kratos
and Atreus from destroying each other.
While you're rowing a boat, while you're going back and forth from place to place. Mimir's there to tell you stories, and I was glad to have him.
And if you got to the end of an area and he wasn't finished telling you the story, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm back."
That was a little awkward, but yeah,
I thought that was great. Because if you this way, you didn't have to stop.
Atreus would. Can you finish that story you were telling earlier?
Yeah, that. I thought that was funny. That was good stuff. But yeah, I'm fine with where we were going. Let's talk Red Dead people now. Sadie Adler. Sadie was great. I mean, her turn from you saving her from the house at the very beginning of the game to turning out to be
the most badass character in the game.
Badass bounty hunter in the game, yeah. I mean, it's okay, that. Because, once you ended up in... Was it after... Yeah, it was right after the island. You came back, and she was basically the one that kept the crew together.
It was her and who else? Somebody else. Sadie,
It was mostly Sadie.
But there was one other character. Sorry,
Was
doesn't
it
matter.
the
cook?
No, what's her name?
The older lady?
No, I'm trying to
Abigail?
remember her name.
Not Abigail.
Because then there was the older woman that he would always tell. That Dutch would always say, "All right, so and so and so and so, pack up. We got to go." I can't remember their names now.
Who is the? And then that was who was the one that led him back to camp? Was that Bill? I think it was Bill.
Bill led him back to
Williamson.
camp.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that led him back to their camp.
I remember Bill was all pissed off that like everybody came back and he just got thrown to the like.
But you're right. That's the moment where Sadie becomes really.
She becomes your sidekick at that point. Where with Arthur and you go to the prison together. You do the hot air balloon together. You do.
She's very
Tilly.
Tilly. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think she's a great character. The way that she develops and that you end up with her at the end, and
honestly, like, okay, again, spoilers for Red Dead, but when Arthur dies there, I was like, I knew there was an epilogue, so I'm like, please give me Sadie.
Right.
I really want this to be Sadie.
Yeah, I actually thought I was like, am I going to control Sadie for a while? That would kind of be cool. I'd be fine with that.
Would have been cool. Do you guys? Speaking of Arthur, who do we really extol the virtues of first, Arthur or Dutch?
Oh man, I like both characters a lot.
I think that there's probably more to Arthur than there is to Dutch.
I don't know about that.
Man, Dutch.
Well, so Dutch, I think Dutch is interesting, and you're not supposed to like Dutch, and he does a very good job of
But you liked Dutch for a while. I think you liked Dutch
There's
at the
always
beginning.
this,
I
like,
like Dutch at the beginning.
There's always this
there's always this skepticism.
There's always this underlying turmoil.
But it's because we
with
knew
Dutch.
it. Because I guess we always
and
knew
you
that
do
Dutch
know.
turns out to be a
You're
bad
right.
guy. But
Well, that even at the beginning though, like it's heavily hinted that something went wrong at this other job, and it's probably Dutch's fault, and he just refuses to admit
at Blackwater.
it. Yeah, at Blackwater.
I don't. Maybe if you guys could just maybe enlighten me or help me understand, like, to me, Dutch seems close to one note for me because he is always a monster. He's been a monster. He's just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
He's
And
selfish.
that never wasn't the case. Never, not once throughout Red Dead 2.
But I think the interesting thing to me is that progression that it takes to get there, for him to embrace that he is full monster, and he doesn't get there until the very end. At the beginning of that game, he thinks he is the good guy. He thinks he's helping all these people. He thinks like, I am their
He is Robin Hood.
They are following me.
I'm the father of this family. This is my family.
And then gradually throughout the course of the game, it becomes clearer and clearer to him that maybe he's not the good guy. And at the end, when you see him for that last time, and he lets you go as John, it's more of a, okay, he knows who he is now. He realizes that he's the one that screwed this whole thing up.
And yeah, I mean, when you look at like the middle of that game, he didn't have to go and get everybody together to go save Jack, like when the Braithwaites took him.
But even that to me is self-serving.
Right. It is, but he doesn't realize it. He thinks he's doing the right thing, but he plays. So at the beginning of the game, he's playing it selflessly, or trying to
appear at least.
Yeah, and gradually at that point, he's trying to play both sides of it, and it just tips the scale more and more and more as the game goes on.
Man, I'm just having a hard time.
His motives.
He always seemed like that to me. He never once seemed like, and even when he's doing the right thing, quote unquote, it was always self-serving for Dutch to tell himself that he was the one who did it.
Yeah, but do you understand what I'm saying? Is that at the beginning of the game, he's how can I help all of these people, but still kind of make a profit for myself? And at the end of the game, it's how do I like fake that I care about these people, but also like
maintain all this cash.
I need all this. This is my stuff. I did this.
Well,
and through the game, that scale just tips completely the other way.
And the whole thing is, it's not like he's trying to go to Tahiti for himself. He's trying to get everybody there. It's not that he's. I guess that's the other part.
At that point, it's kind of the 50-50 thing. That's in the middle of the game. Like, yes, I want to escape there, but also like I want my friends there too.
It's Arthur. I think Arthur said it best, or the way that I see Dutch. Arthur's character says, "I don't think that Dutch has changed. I think we're just seeing who he always has been."
Oh, I don't disagree with you on that. I'm just saying I think that they built the character arc up in a way that it did start from like he was a little. You could tell that it was a little more about the family and about the gang, and then it just slowly became more.
I guess
Dutch.
when you even think about the physical spaces they traverse through.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a camp that's alive with activity and people, and they all trust one another, and that slowly degrades as Dutch degrades
to a little cave with a treasure chest in it.
Right.
The end.
It's kind of actually if I can pose that there's this vital, vibrant camp set up.
There's no
people.
I mean, you get to a point where there's no ledger anymore.
Right.
I mean, there's no people are contributing to the camp. Everything has gotten to that point where it's all about me versus all about the camp.
I don't disagree with you that he's greedy and selfish the entire time. I think the interesting thing to me about his character is him realizing it over the course of the game.
Okay.
And when you talk about character though, is just the way that whenever he's on the screen, he commands that screen time. Like when you look at just the way that voice actor and the way that they portray him, he is the man wherever he goes. I mean, and even when you go to Saint Denis and he's trying to get in with the higher ups there, I mean, he was still the top dog. I mean, he was still like he could still diffuse any situation. He could do whatever. That's to me what just made him like he was an important person. Like he walked into a scene and it was all about Dutch.
Yeah, charismatic.
Yeah,
snake oil salesman.
Yeah,
not literally as others are in the game.
Right, but that's where I look at it of just like he was a character. Like that was I'm not saying whether he was good or bad. Just saying that if you're looking at, I mean, a character can be a villain.
Okay.
Of those three, this is weird to say, but I think Arthur is the weakest.
You controlled him the whole time, but
as far as character development goes, like the biggest thing he does is help John, which really isn't that big of a, you know what I mean? Like the biggest moment for him is helping John.
I think some of that is just the way that the game. It's just a function of a video game.
Yeah.
Where your decisions are Arthur's decisions.
Right.
And everyone else's are their own decisions. So Dutch may be ultimately more interesting because they're his decisions. Sadie's are more interesting. But you're Arthur.
Yeah.
So when you help someone along the road, like, that's just you making that choice.
He kind of, in like if you look at it from like the grand scope, he kind of goes along with Dutch for a long time, then decides no, this can't be anymore. He helps the remaining gang members escape or do whatever, and then he dies. Like, I know I'm boiling it down to like very, granular, very like grand plot points, but really, like, he never really has that big reveal moment. He never really has that big.
Arthur's Arthur.
Yeah,
he's consistent.
Yeah,
and he's consistent in how you want him to be consistent. Which, I mean, if you played the game as a villain, like, I feel like it would just be very counterintuitive. I wonder if anything would change if your honor level was more toward the red, like, because it's just everything that he does in plot points of the story. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know how.
Did you guys? I think that, and I was toying on putting this on Moment, but everything was just so strong, and it's a weird one. Did you guys talk to Karen or Tilly at camp? Where Arthur kind of sits down with them, and it's a minute-long conversation with both.
Yeah.
And Arthur sits down, and he, "What's wrong, Arthur?" You look down, I don't know, been killing animals, robbing folks, murdering men for no good reason. And, like, they're a minute long, but
it's a lifetime of...
They're great. Those moments are
Yeah.
great. And they're like, that's not good, Arthur. That doesn't sound like you. You know, there's those brief moments where people believe in Arthur more than he believes in himself, and that's the way it is throughout, which is the most interesting thing to me about Arthur. Especially if you play honorably, which they kind of want you to do. There are two ways to go with this. Did you guys do the side mission with the nun?
Yeah.
You
No,
help
I
her
don't
with
think I
charity. This you might find really interesting. And so you do the mission is called The Art of Conversation. And you escort Eagle Flies to the general's camp after you've stolen the goods for I can't remember the name of the character, the one that at the end of the mission he has to avoid being court-martialed. Arthur coughs.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember.
He coughs. He gets sick. He overhears
There's
the
story,
two the two guys are gonna court-martial the other guy who is siding with the Native Americans.
Yeah.
And they extract him from camp, and then they get him to a train and get him out of town. At the end of that mission, you either run into one of two characters: Reverend Swanson, if you haven't done the nun stuff, and
The nun.
the nun.
Yeah.
And so you ran into the nun.
Yeah.
What about you?
I heard Reverend Swanson.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you do the nun side story, you run into her, and she, after you doing some charitable things to help her out, she's very excited to see you. And she talks to Arthur about what a wonderful person he is. And he's like, no, sister, you don't know me. You don't know the things that I've done. Oh, I know you. I know you well enough. You wouldn't have done that if it wasn't inside you. I'm... more or less trying to recap that conversation. But that's really great. That's some of Arthur's best stuff in that game. Is she believes in him and she sees the good in Arthur when he doesn't see it in himself. And he's done horrible things. Like, you murder people, but she's trying to tell him, like, you don't know yourself and you may not be beyond redemption, sorry for the word, but you may yet be able to do something good. And I don't know. Like, that stuff is really interesting to me, where he is introspective, and whether or not you do some of those things that he says he's done, because you may not be a murdering maniac. You may be, like, that's the video games, right? But if anything, I think that's his strongest stuff, but it's not as dynamic as Sadie and Dutch.
No.
So, which of the three, what would you go with? Each of you?
If I had to rank them 1, 2, 3, it would be Dutch, Arthur, Sadie. You're the opposite?
Kinda. I go Sadie, Dutch, Arthur.
That's what I would do.
You do Sadie, Dutch, Arthur?
Yeah.
Sadie's character is so good because she starts out as just a housewife and evolves all the way into badass bounty hunter.
And maybe it's just because we didn't get as much time with her. That's, in all reality, that's probably why I would put her lower. That's all.
Yeah.
But I think she's a great character. I think I was the one who put her on the list.
Should we keep her on there?
I think
Freya, Sadie, JJ, all girls.
Sure.
Well, JJ's not really a girl.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. And I was like, hold on. Yeah. Okay. I'm okay with that. And then we have to pick one, though, right?
I would vote for Sadie, but Jason made a really good argument for Freya.
I'm kind of on the Freya boat here. What do you think? Jason's spinning his cup.
I like both of them a lot.
What, Freya and Sadie?
Mm-hmm. I think I would choose Sadie.
You choose Sadie?
Well, fine. I'm going to choose JJ.
God,
Yeah, I think I would choose Sadie just because. And there's that stuff there's that mission that's for me just so memorable, where you go with Arthur and you just take down the whole camp of guys, and she executes the guy who murdered her husband and
Oh yeah,
abused
that's a good
her,
one.
and like she just like has the guy's blood all over her face, and like she's like, look what they did to me, Arthur. Like they turned me into a monster.
There's so many times too when like you go into camp and she's like, "Hey, let me go on the next thing with you guys. Let me go," and they're like, Dutch is like, "No, you stay here. You're a woman. You stay here." And then she finally does go, and she's like the best at it.
You guys choose.
I updated it to Mrs. Sadie Adler.
She is Mrs. Adler.
What's that? And then that mission has a great title too. I think it's Mrs. Sadie Adler, widow.
Yeah.
Like, so good.
So Caleb, what are you thinking? So versus Sadie and Freya.
Well, if Jason feels Sadie, I mean, you're the one that made the argument for Freya, so let's go Sadie.
I'm okay with that. Do Sadie. Mrs. Adler.
Yep. Mrs. Adler. Congratulations.
You are Character of the Year with honorable mention to Freya and JJ Macfield. What was?
I like it.
What was the JJ again? Something Jack.
Like,
Jackie. Was it Jackie?
okay, I don't remember. They said it like once, so I don't remember.
It was something. I can't remember. It's gonna drive me nuts. Like I just played it last night. It was Jack because the mom called him Jack.
I'm trying to find it. It's hard to find.
Oh, it's all right. We can. All right. Now the important question: what are we gonna get for lunch?
Ooh, yeah, good question.
That's an important question. Before we hit into
Put in the comments below, what should we have for lunch?
You know what, guys? This is exciting that we are on schedule.
We are on schedule. It is
We are on
11:40. We are on schedule. We're gonna have all afternoon for Game of the Year, and we are going to fight, and we're going to. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
All right, I'm hitting stop on this because
Yeah.
All right, just watch the next. Listen to the next episode.
Killer.
Bye.